I'll tell you, this has to be the best cheesecake ever. Not just because I made it, but it's a silky smooth, melt in the mouth flavour, and there's a slight crunch on the base. If I'd bought this in a restaurant, I'd pay double, but then I probably wouldn't go to that restaurant again anyway. So give it a try, see what you think, let me know. And also share the recipe and comment below. Thanks a lot. Okay, we're going to make our basic cheesecake. Now for this, preparation is a must. So first of all, you have your oven on, probably around about 150, 160 degrees centigrade. Make sure the shelf itself, as you can see, whew, I've had this on quite a while. The shelf itself is actually lower down to the middle section there, otherwise your cheesecake will end up getting burnt. Second thing, you need to pour yourself a glass of wine. I always find my cooking turns out better when I've got a glass of wine. Just helps me relax a little bit, enjoy it a little bit more. So, cheers everybody, let's get baking. What do we do? Right, first of all then, I've buttered my 8-inch, 20cm springform cake tin. As you can see, buttered it all the way around the edges and put a piece of baking paper at the bottom there just to help release the cake at the end of the day. That goes there. In this bag, I've got the biscuit crumbs. Now we've got 70 grams of digestive biscuits here, all crushed up. If you've got a food mixer, fine, just whiz them up. Make sure they're nice and fine. Not too fine though, because you still want a bit of a crunch on there, so just keep the crumbs nice and loose. With that, we're going to pour that into our butter, which is melted away nicely on the oven there. Just melted roughly 40 grams of butter. I'm going to pour the biscuit bases into that. It's cooled down a little bit. That goes in. Give it a mix up. And into that, we're going to put in some light brown sugar. Not too much, only about 16 grams worth. Give it a good mix. Make sure the butter soaks all into the biscuits there. That gives it a nice crispiness, look at that. Nice and crunchy, that. So when that's all mixed in, it's beginning to stick already. Now let's pour that into our cake tin. It's a perfect base. We don't want the base too thick though. I find that's a problem with a lot of cheesecakes. If you have it too thick, get rid of that. We want a nice even base, so give it a good shake, press it down with the back of the spoon. We don't want it going up the edges of the tin. It's most important actually. I find that looks a bit messy when you cut into a cheesecake. You reveal it and it's got biscuits up the side of the cheesecake. It doesn't work for me. So press it right the way down, nice and flat. Gone so far, now we use the back of your hand and this gives you a really good guide. Push it into the sides of the tin there, right the way down to the base. And make sure it's nice and even. There we go, so you get a really good covering on that. That's perfect. Time to make more mess. Just wipe my hands. I want to get some silver foil now. This will line our tin. So when it goes into a bain-marie, the baking part of the cheesecake, it won't seep out and it's protected from the water. So you bring it right the way up to the edges there, as you can see. Just wrap it all the way around. It gives you a slight protection against the water bath that you're going to put it into later. There you go, perfect. This is, I'm going to put this in the oven now just to bake it up a little bit, probably for about 10-15 minutes or so. That goes in there. That'll give you a nice crispy base then, so that's a good thing. Time for a glass of wine. Now it's time to move on to the cream cheese mixture. I'll get rid of this because I could be quite dangerous with this. What are we doing? Oh yes, in here, we've got our cream cheese all ready to go, rearing to go. There's about 550 grams of cream cheese in there, soft cream cheese. I've had it out of the fridge just to make it even softer. 170 grams of granulated sugar, that goes in on top. Now we're going to mix this up. Mix it thoroughly, slowly to begin with. Just make sure everything's combined. And once it's combined, turn the speed up. And hopefully it will dissolve all those granules from the sugar. Yeah, that's working quite well. Usually takes a couple of minutes. You just want to make sure everything's combined. This is where the beauty of having someone else to do it for you works. Or get a food processor, it's a lot easier. Getting there. Gonna have a glass of wine. Okay, that should do. Now we need to add a pinch of salt, which you've got over here. There you go, that goes in there. Cream, I've got my cream somewhere, hold on a second. 100 millilitres of double cream. That looks nice already. I have to say, don't have to bake it, looks nice. I can just get the spoon in there straight away. Done that. We now need our eggs. We've got 3 eggs in there, and I want to put a touch of vanilla extract in there just to add a little bit of flavour. So we're looking for a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Teaspoon and a bit. I'm not fussy. And slowly we're going to mix them up. Get everything combined. Once it's combined, slowly add your eggs. So probably one at a time, I would say. There we go. Give it a good mix up. This is where this recipe differs from other cheesecake recipes. It makes it lighter, I think, is if you give it a really good whisk. Like this, gets a lot more air inside. Almost as if you're whipping a cake together. Get the air inside, that's what makes it rise better. Add another egg. And the last one. Looking lovely. There you go. Before we give it one final whisk, I'm just going to make sure I've got all the bits and pieces in. So I'm going to scrape down the sides of the tin. I did have a spatula, but I'll just use a wooden spoon. There we go. It just gets everything combined then, doesn't it? One last whiz. There we go. Looking good. Look at that, lovely. Honestly, I'll tell you, I've never really liked cheesecake whenever I bought it in a restaurant. But recently I went to a restaurant and we had this pumpkin cheesecake and it was just absolutely fantastic. So I thought I'll get home and I'll try and make it myself. A few attempts later, and it didn't quite work out, but we tried again, kept going. And I have to say, this is so light and fluffy, it's just fabulous, it really is. I'm just going to get the tin out the oven now. That should be nice and crispy. Yeah, that's settled in nicely. Just pop that on top of there. Get the oven closed. Now with some ovens, I have to tell you, this took me a while to get used to this one. The heat circulates around the oven, and I was finding cheesecakes were getting burnt on top. But this one you can actually turn down so it heats from the bottom, which is a lot easier, because I don't like burnt crispy toppings to my cheesecake. I like them nice and natural, as they say. Let's get rid of this. Now we're going to make a bain-marie, which is basically a roasting tin. And in the roasting tin you put your baking tin, and in that you top it up with hot boiling water. I've just had the kettle boiling, we should pour that in a second. This goes in there, but we put the water in last. That way you don't slop it and slide it and it falls all over the place when you're trying to put it into the oven. Now, I do need my spatula, and I don't know where it's gone. Who's nicked me spatula? Come on, where are you? Oh, there it is, look, right in front of my eyes, honestly. Some people, it's the wine. I've had too much wine, that's what it is. Now, I'm gonna scrape this down and pop it into our cheesecake tin. So that goes in there. And look at that, that is lovely. Absolutely gorgeous. Now this is the basic mixture for cheesecakes, and what you can do with this is just add bits and pieces to it to give it more flavouring if you like a lemon cheesecake or strawberry cheesecake or whatever you're making. But this is the basic mix, and I have to say, just the basic mix by itself, it's just fabulous. It's so creamy and so light. You just dress it up with a few raspberries or whatever you want to put on top. We're just going to knock that around to the sides, get it nice and level, nice and even. This is a small cake tin, it's an 8-inch one or 20 centimetre cake tin. And the reason I use this is because it's big enough for a couple of people. You can cut the cheesecake in half and freeze it afterwards, and then get it out the day before you want to serve it. And it just lasts longer. There we go, let's spread that around nice and even. The reason I'm doing this is because, to me, you want a nice, flat, unburnt top to your cheesecake. There's nothing worse than having a burnt top, do you know what I mean? And that needs to be nice and flat and even. And that looks just about right, just about there. So, I would lick the bowl out normally, but the wine's too good for that. That's ready to go into our oven. I'm going to pop it down onto the lower middle shelf because I want the heat to come from the base and heat the base of the cheesecake rather than the top. Now we're going to top it up with water. This is our bain-marie. The water goes into the baking tin, the roasting tin, goes all the way around. Because you've got the tin foil around the sides of the cake tin, it's not going to mix in with the cake mixture. That's the last thing you want to do. Take it roughly about halfway up and then push that back into the oven. There you are. Now that is going to sit and cook for roughly 45 minutes. Sometimes an hour and a quarter, depends on your oven. Get used to your oven first. This one I like to sit for about an hour, hour and a quarter, and then once it's done, it should just have a slight wobble to it, which is perfect. And then I'll open the oven door, switch off the oven, and just let it dry out. And the part, for me, the best part of the cheesecake is when it's drying out, because it will keep on cooking and baking itself and getting rid of all the mixture. But it will settle itself down and it'll be perfect afterwards. Once it's cooked and it's been in the oven and the door's been opened for half an hour, the temperature's off, then take it out, pop it on the side and leave it. Leave it completely to cool down, so it's cold actually, and then pop it in the fridge. So, that's it. I'm gonna have a glass of wine. Cheers. Okay, it's been on cooking for about an hour now. I'm gonna open the door up just to have a look. And there's our cheesecake. And there's a slight wobble to the middle there, which is exactly what we're looking for. Now be careful, it's extremely hot and the water in there is boiling. So if you touch the centre of the cheesecake there, it should feel like a moist sponge, which is exactly what I've got there. So I'm going to turn the heating off completely. And that is perfect. I'm going to leave that in there, close the door slightly and just let it cool down. It should take about half an hour. Once that half an hour is over with, take it out completely, including the roasting tin with the water inside, leave it on the side and let it cool down completely so it's cold. Then you take it, pop it in the fridge and leave it overnight, covered in cling film. Next morning, you'll wake up, the sun will be shining, you have your breakfast, have a cup of coffee, look in the fridge and there'll be a perfect cheesecake. And believe me, it is perfect, it is tasty. You can then use that basic cheesecake design, leave it by itself, or you can decorate it with strawberries, raspberries, vanilla, whatever you're looking for to make up your finished product. So that is a basic cheesecake recipe. Enjoy it.